But what I wanted to touch on was in listening to this beautiful song of yours. I'm listening to your vocal style, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, this reminds me of someone, and I'm thinking, and and back in 1975, Townes Van Zandt came out with a song called "If I Needed You." Now the song is musically different, but the vocal style is very similar. And I really, well, I'm a big fan of Townes Van Zandt, and really like what you did here. Very muchly so.
Well, thank you. It's interesting because I think ultimately your voice winds up being a product of all the things you've listened to over the years, unless you have some really, really unusual gift that's so unique that you become that person that people try to emulate. But for many years, the formative years for me as a singer were the early '70s, and so I was listening to Jackson Browne and Don Henley and Glenn Frey and J.D. Souther and the Byrds and the Burrito Brothers and all that Southern rock, country rock
all
stuff
high
in Southern
quality
California.
Stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so one day we were sitting in the studio, John Oates and I, who I have to give credit for that. The way that song sounds, he envisioned what he wanted on that and really brought the instrumentation together. But one day I said, well, we got through the day without anybody telling me I sounded like Don Henley. And he said, well, listen, he said, you don't sound like anybody. You sound familiar, and that's what people like. And it struck me because I don't try to sound like anybody, but, I'll take Don Henley, Townes Van Zandt. I'll take that all day long. I think you absorb through osmosis whatever it is that appeals to you, and that's what comes out. And I feel like in the past 10 years I've worked really, really hard on my singing, and that's kind of my instrument, I guess, if I have one.
That is such a great point, too, that you make, as far as maybe sounding like you remind somebody of someone, but you don't sound like them. You don't want to sound like Don Henley. You don't want to sound like Townes Van Zandt. But if somebody can read that familiarity into what you're doing and doing an amalgam of these voices, then why the hell not?
Yeah. Yeah, a guy told me the other night I sounded just like Gordon Lightfoot, and I don't get that at all. But if that's what draws him to the music, I'm fine with it. That's people hear. It's kind of like when people say, "What's that song about?" And I go, "I don't know. You tell me. What's it about to you?" So if the voice and the song reach them on some level, I'm fine with that, no matter what that level is.
Well, in a way, though, I can see that, because Gordon Lightfoot did a song called "An Affair on 8th Avenue," and the vocal style is very, very similar.
Well, there you go. I probably soaked that up as like a sponge along the way somewhere,
There you go. I was going to mention also the fact that I loved the expression that you voiced. You sound familiar. That's excellent, and I think that that style, that feeling, may be what people are referring to when they say you sound like, because Lightfoot definitely has a familiarity about his style. Henley also, several of the artists we've been talking about, and
right.
I had never quite thought of it in terms of familiarity. But yeah, there's it's going to sound a little bit like an Eagles lyric, but you get a comfortable, easy feeling listening to it. You want to listen to it.
Well, and that I got to give John Oates credit for that, because he sensed that it sort of bothered me that people are always trying to, put it's like genre. People are always saying, "What kind of music is that?" He said one day, just tell them it's good music. And I said, "Okay, well, I'm fine with that."
I like that.
He's been at this a long time. He's answered all those questions. So
it sounds, from what I'm hearing, you guys make a good pairing. You work well together, and you come up with the right answers, or the good answers, as it were. And I'm really glad that we got you in here on the show today. Tell us a little bit about DavidStarr, where you come from, how you got to where you are, maybe what you're looking forward to, or what you want to do next.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Fayetteville, Arkansas, which is the very northwest corner up there where the Ozarks sort of begin to, sort of the southern edge of the Missouri Ozarks. And grew up there, played in bands since I was 13 years old, played high school parties, frat parties, played clubs several nights a week all through high school and college, and then moved to Aspen, Colorado in 1981 just to try to get out and spread my wings a little bit. My first wife and I went out there, and that was a very formative time because there were nights I'd look around and I ended up on stage one night with, several times with Dan Fogelberg because I had an old 58 Stratocaster. He wanted to come in and play, and so he'd get up and play with us. And one night I was on the bandstand with, I was playing drums because drums were my first instrument, and I was on the stage with three of the members of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Kenny Edwards from Linda Ronstadt and Carla Bonoff's band, and Sonny Bono. So,
oh, wow.
it was an eye-opening thing for a 25-year-old guy, And the other thing is I played 5 or 6 nights a week for 4 years, and what that does to you, and oftentimes with people I'd never met until we get to the gig, they go, okay, we're going to do this. It's a blues thing, a 1-4-5 with a minor 6, and just follow me, And I learned to be a good sideman, and as a result, I like to think that I got some training about how to be a band leader, and I'm still working on that always. But it was a good time. Then after that, I moved down to Arkansas again to kind of raise my daughter for several years, and about 19 years ago, I moved back out to Colorado because once you've lived out west, it's just hard to be anywhere else. So
absolutely,
I more than anything, just tried to up my game and get better at this because when it's all said and done, I want to be able to say, you know what, I was giving it all the effort I could, make good records with good people, and play good shows, and never phone it in,
Well, I would say you have succeeded there, and unfortunately,
thank you.
We're running out of time here, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. David,
Sure.
Tell the folks how they can find you online and get in touch with you and follow your music and career.
Go to DavidStarRmusic.com. Just make sure you put 2 R's in Starr. So it's DavidStarRmusic.com and then DavidStarr Music on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm always out traveling around, and like your previous guest, always looking for good solid gigs. So I appreciate you having me on, and I hope to see you sometime soon down the road.
We'd certainly love that. As I tell everybody, John's down in the Naples, Fort Myers area, Florida. I'm out in the Tempe, Phoenix area, so if you ever hit those markets, be sure and give us a yell. Please do stay in touch with us. Let us know what's going on with you, and we'd like to get you back here in the future if you would.
You got it. I'd love to.
Great. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's David Starr, and here is I've got a problem with my tongue getting stuck in my eye tooth, and I can't see what I'm saying today, but here's David Starr with Road to Jubilee.
Now I dream about the big house by the side of Laurel Creek. We're sitting there in a rocking chairs with the children at our feet. We've got a dog called Music and a mule to ride to town. That's all I ever wanted if I ever settled down. When a boy from Texarkana found a girl to take his name, thought the love they made and the vows they gave always would remain. It was a garden full of thorns, but the roses smelled so sweet. And what was bound together was bound to break at the hands of love's deceit. On the road to Jubilee, take me back in time before I left for Tennessee, living on memories. On the road to Jubilee, I keep a picture in my mind, and I'm counting down the days till they set me free, till I'm walking down the road to Jubilee. Now it's dark and cold and lonely inside these prison walls, and I'm not to blame for a dead man's crime, but still I took the fall. I've lost so many hours that I know I'll never find. Now I count the days till I walk away, leave this all behind. On the road to Jubilee, take me back in time before I left for Tennessee, living on memories. On the road to Jubilee, I keep a picture in my mind, and I'm counting down the days till they set me free. Across the cotton fields I hear the church bells ringing. Listen to the choir, hear the spiritual singing. Like sweet magnolia blossoms in the spring, bringing me back again, bringing me back again. Living on memories, on the road to Jubilee. I keep a picture in my mind, and I'm counting down the days till they set me free. Walking down the road, walking down the road to Jubilee.
Thank you so much. We want to thank all of our guests today. Emily Cole, David Starr, of course, and our old buddy David Martinez for stopping by to talk about South by Southwest. We hope you enjoyed it too. Drop us a line. Tell us what you like or don't like. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to know what you're thinking. David at TheDavidBowers.com is the email address. As I said, we'd love to hear from you. John Bon Jovial, take us home.
Well, folks, thank you very much for, as one newscaster puts it, the privilege of your time. We're grateful that you spent this hour with us here at the David Bowers Awards, which, by the way, just happens to be broadcast around the world from the studios of Computer Help USA in Naples, Florida, and the Valley of the Sun in Tempe, Arizona. Follow us on your favorite podcast platform, and be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook to keep up with the show and all your indie music news. Join us next week for the David Bowers Awards for more great indie music and talk with the folks that make it happen. So until next week, for the David Bowers, Nick, our marvelously and hilarious geeky engineer, I am yours truly, the lovable and legendary John Bon Jovial, saying be good to each other, love each other, and we will see you next week right here on the David Bowers Awards.